Okay, guys, I guess everyone is here. So let's get started without any further ado. Can you hear me, guys? Asif, Naidu.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can have it.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So, guys, please keep the mic muted just so that there's no background disturbance for the other students. In today's class, we're going to go with the lab setup installation. So, again, as I've mentioned in the previous class, we'll be working on an operating system called the Kali Linux operating system. So you can go to your browser, search for kali.org, the official website, and you can only have one session limit time to close to return to the session in progress and limit. Wait, but okay, anyways. So as I've mentioned, this is the operating system that we require for our upcoming sessions, guys. Okay, this is an open source Debian based Linux operating system, and this comes pre-installed with all the penetration testing tools required for our ethical hacking course. Okay, now usually on our systems we already have the Windows OS installed. Okay, so there are two methods to install this operating system now. First method is you can perform something called as dual booting. So on your system, so you can run both operating systems, Windows and Linux, but one at a time, not both at once. Okay, so you would have to create two partitions, one for the Windows operating system and one for the Linux operating system. But again, dual booting is quite risky, guys. Okay, another alternative is you would have to purchase a separate device for this Linux, and that is a very not so cost-effective method. Okay, quite a pricey alternative. So in order to overcome these difficulties, we have a software called VMware. VMware is a virtualization software. What it basically does is it allows you to install other operating systems on your base machine, on your Windows operating system. Okay, and these virtual machines will, again, which are running in the VMware software, will borrow the physical resources from the base machine. So for example, if my base machine has 1 TB hard disk and 16 GB RAM, so out of that 1 TB hard disk, the VMware will allocate some to the virtual machines, like 100 GB or 200 GB. And from the 16 GB RAM, it takes like 4 GB or 8 GB and assigns to the virtual machines. And now these virtual machines will run on that borrowed resources. And once you close the virtual machine, these resources go back to the system. So whatever RAM was occupied, that RAM goes back to the base machine again. So you're running virtually multiple systems in the one singular device. Okay. So you have two tools for that. One is VMware. So you can go to your browser and search for VMware Workstation Pro. And this is actually a paid tool, guys. So if you search for price, you can see this is around $241 or something. Okay, but again, you don't have to make any payment for this. I have a cracked version of this tool, the slightly older version, 1 year older, VMware 16, but it works perfectly fine, just like the any version of VMware. Okay, and as you can see, it's around $199 or something. Okay, so we can get this tool for free from a lot of torrent websites actually, and I am also running one of the cracked versions itself. So if you don't want to go with the cracked version, or if you're using a Mac operating system, you will have to go with something called as VirtualBox. This VMware is only for Windows operating system. Okay, so if you want to go with Mac operating system, you have to go with this tool called VirtualBox. This is built by a vendor called Oracle, very famous. You might know about them, Oracle databases, and this is available for Mac OS as well. Okay, so the VMware version which I was talking about, it is a cracked version only for Windows operating system, guys. But just in case of using Mac, you would have to go with VirtualBox. Again, same purpose software, virtualization software, but a different vendor. I don't prefer going with VirtualBox on my system because, again, as I've mentioned, the paid version of the VMware is much more easier to use. It has a much better interface comparatively to this open source tool. Okay, but again, if you're using Mac, guys, you would have no other option. You always have to go with VirtualBox, the open source tool. Okay, so firstly, in today's class, I'm going to show you how to install the VMware application, guys. Okay, so just in case if anyone here is using a Mac, you would have to install VirtualBox. So I'll have to connect with them separately just in case if they face any trouble. Okay. So if you're using Mac operating system, guys, install VirtualBox. And if you get stuck somewhere, just let me know. I'll help you out. Okay. Now, coming back to my VMware installation, I'll be sharing the files with you guys at the end of the class today. So I have all the applications stored on my Google Drive. I'll be sharing the link for those at the end of the class today. Let me show you what the links look like. So these will be the links which I'll be sharing with you at the end of the class today. Okay, the VMware 16 link. When you click on the Google Drive link here, this gives you access to my Google Drive where you have the setup folder. And in the setup folder, you have the setup exe. So I would recommend you download this file. It is around 621 MB or so. Okay. So this file is already downloaded on my system. I already have this on my local system. Let me show the installation now. So I'm going to go to the folder. This is the same setup file, guys, which I have uploaded on my drive here. Okay, so I'm going to run this as administrator. Right click, run as admin. And with that, this should start the setup wizard for us. Let's wait for that. It shouldn't take more than a minute or so. Yes, so this is the setup wizard, guys, for the VMware workstation. It is pretty similar for the VirtualBox as well. You would get a setup wizard. But the default steps, guys, next install. So click on next here. And I accept the terms and the license agreement. Next again. Just a second, I guess someone asked a question. Okay, so click on next again. And nothing to change here. This is the default path where you want to install VM in your C drive program files. So don't change anything, just click on next again. And here, excuse me, you can uncheck both these options. Okay, so what you can do is you can try to again uncheck these because you don't want to check for product updates or you don't want to join the customer experience program. So uncheck both these options, click on next and install this. That's it, as simple as that. So wait for the setup to complete. And once this is done, it's going to ask you for a license key. So I also have the license keys mentioned in the Google Drive. So just go one step back and you can see there's a folder here called keys. In that you should find a text file. Copy any one of the keys mentioned in this text file. And you can paste that once it asks for the license key. Okay. Naidu, you have mentioned a question. Error VirtualBox depends on hardware architecture being U1 Intel type bit 64. Oh, I guess you're downloading the Windows version of VirtualBox. Naidu, download the Mac OS version. Okay, so that should resolve this issue. You're downloading the Windows version, so that's why you're getting this error. Okay, so yeah, over here, as you can notice, I've got the VMware application here. And now click on license and copy paste any one of these license keys. So I'm going to copy this one, Control C, and paste that over here. Click on enter and finish. So that completes the VMware installation, guys. Once, oh, one second, it supports only Intel based Mac, not ARM based Mac. Oh, okay. So yours is an ARM based Mac, I suppose, Naidu. Do you have any other machine in your, in your vicinity where you can install this with a Intel based processor? Or let me check right now. VirtualBox for ARM based Mac OS. Oh, it does support is what it says. Oh, you have to select this one as what it says, Naidu. So select this one, developer preview, macOS ARM 64. This should work out. Okay, let me drop this link as well, just in case if we get stuck somewhere. I've dropped this link in the chat box for reference. Okay, and it has the step-by-step installation as well, actually. Okay, and once the VirtualBox is installed, you can search for installing Kali in VirtualBox. Okay, so it would show you the procedure for that as well. I'll be sharing this link as well. No, this is an older procedure. Don't go with that one. With OVA file, that's better. Yeah, this is the web page actually from an IDO. So this is the procedure to install in VirtualBox, okay, for your Kali operating system. Okay, so just in case if you're getting stuck somewhere, just let me know. Okay, and I guess you have my number as well, my contact number for WhatsApp, +91 98499847778. So just in case if we get stuck somewhere, just send me a screenshot of that on this number in WhatsApp. Okay, and I'll be there to assist you. Firstly, again, let me show it for you, Naidu, since you're using the Mac operating system. When we download the VMware, when we download the Kali operating system, so we have the VMware installed, as you can see. So once your VirtualBox is installed as well, you would see an application like this. Okay, for the Windows users, it's going to be VMware. For the Mac operating system users, it's going to be VirtualBox. And for VMware users, guys, you would see none of these virtual machines. These are my virtual machines which I've installed previously. Okay, so let me delete my Kali to show you the installation again. Let me delete this operating system. Manage, delete from disk. Yes. So when you run the VMware for the first time, guys, on your system, you will see a home screen like this. Okay, and you have to import the Kali file in this system. Okay, import the Kali's image. So for that, you would have to go to the official website of Kali. Go to your browser, search for kali.org again. I have this loaded here. Click on download, and when you click on download, it gives you two options. One is installer image, and one is virtual machines. Installer image is for installing the Kali operating system with an ISO file. In the olden times, when you wanted to install an operating system, you would install it from a CD or a DVD drive. In today's world, no computer comes with a CD or a DVD burner or a driver. So what we have is ISO files, soft copies of CDs burned into a software image. So if you want to install the operating system on the base machine, you would go with installer image. But we don't want to do that. We want to install Kali in our VMware or VirtualBox. So you have to click on virtual machines and then selecting the VMware option. For users in Windows, you have to select VMware. And for users in Mac, you have to go with VirtualBox. Okay, so click on download, and this will download the latest version of Kali for you, 2023.2, I guess that's the latest version. Okay, so download that file, and once it is downloaded, you would see a zip file as such. So I have the file already downloaded on my system actually. Let me show you. Yeah, here's the file. So you see, this is the file which gets downloaded. And this is around 2.7 GB or something, guys. Okay, 2.73 GB. Once it's downloaded, you have to extract this file. Okay, so if you don't have any extraction tool by default on your system, you can search for something called as 7-zip for Windows users. Search for 7-zip application. This is an open source file extractor and file compressor. So click on download here and open folder. Once downloaded, just run this as administrator. Install. With one single step, this application gets installed. And once the file is installed, just extract this file now. So this is a compressed file, guys. It has an extension called 7z. Right click on that file, go to show more options, click on 7-zip and click on extract. And this extracts the virtual machine files for you, the operating system files for you. Okay. For users in Mac operating system, you won't select the VMware one, you would select the VirtualBox one. Okay, and when you download this will also download in a zip file. You have to extract that. Excuse me. In Mac operating systems, you already have an extractor downloaded by default in the OS itself. So you can extract the files with that extractor. And once it is extracted, you would find something called as an OVA file. You have to import that OVA file in the VirtualBox. Okay. For Windows users, once this file is extracted, you would find something called as a VMX file. So if I go to Kali and if I open this folder, you can see here there's a VMX file and it has a very unique looking icon. And when I double click on this, this automatically opens in my VMware. That is how you import it. All you have to do is just double click that VMX file or the OVA file. And once it is imported, we have to give the configuration for this. Excuse me, let me just get some water, guys. Right. So now once the virtual machine is imported in your VMware, let's configure the operating system now. Configure in the sense, what options do you want to specify for the OS? How much RAM do you want to allocate? How many processors do you want to allocate? Okay. And what network connection should it have? Okay. So we'll perform these configurations now. So memory for the Kali operating system, 2 GB is the recommended memory. So you would keep it at 2 GB itself. Nothing to change over here. Processors, every system has only one processor. So select one here and you can put 2 cores. Okay. Max to max. Okay. That's good enough. Hard disk, nothing to change here. It by default takes 80 GB as the maximum storage. And right now it is running on 12 GB. Okay. So minimum amount of storage space required for Kali is 12 GB, guys. Okay. And after that, nothing to change in CD. In network adapter, we have to put this in bridged mode. Okay. So these are the 4 settings to modify. Memory 2 GB, processor 1 processor, and 2 cores. Hard disk, nothing to change. It's 80 GB by default. And network adapter should be bridged in the sense it gets connected to the same network of your base machine. So if your base machine is getting the IP from the router, the virtual machine also gets the IP from the same router and they can communicate with one another. If you put it in NAT, only the virtual machines can communicate with one another. They are not in the same network as your base machine. Okay, so they can't communicate with the base machine. So depending on that, if you want the connection between base machine and the virtual machine, go for bridged mode. If you don't want it, you can go with NAT mode. Click on OK and just click on power on. As simple as that. And this powers on the Kali operating system. Okay. And when you're using the mouse in the virtual machine, guys, you can't run it back in the base machine. So to get your mouse back in the base machine, you have to press the button Control and Alt. And with Control Alt, you get your mouse back. Okay. So that's an important tip to note. This is clear, guys. Asif, Naidu, Shubham. So this is how you install the Kali operating system, guys. And once it is installed, you have the default credentials here, username Kali and password Kali, K-A-L-I. Okay, so those are the default credentials to install the Kali operating system. Okay, so a simple session and a short session. Okay, but again, the task applies for you to complete this in your free time. Okay, so try to perform the VMware installation, guys, and the Kali installation. And if you're running a Mac operating system, install VirtualBox first. And in the VirtualBox, install the Kali OS. Okay, any questions now?
No, we'll follow that, the steps.
Okay, sure. So again, guys, I need a confirmation on who all have made the payment already. So only to them I can share the files. So Asif and Naidu, have you made the payment to the institute, guys? Okay, payment is done for Naidu. Asif, I guess your payment is also done, right? You informed me the other day.
Yes, I have done that.
Right, cool. So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further. I'm going to exit the session. Please drop your emails in the chat box so that I can share these files to you after the class. Okay. So I note down your emails and I can share these files to you over the email. Shubham, any questions on your end? How to install the applications or?
Yes, sir. Sir,
All
after
clear,
payment, yeah. Yes, sir.
okay.
After payment, you will share that installation file or right now?
No. Again, as I've mentioned, Shubham, I need the payment confirmation from the students. So once I get the
Okay.
payment confirmation only, I am allowed to share the files. So the institute
No
doesn't
problem.
allow me to share the files, Shubham, until the payment
Okay.
is done.
Sir,
Oh.
and sir, I want your WhatsApp number, sir, for any query.
I dropped it in the chat box, Shubham. I have mentioned it in the chat box, actually. You can get it from the chat box. Or let me mention it again
Yes, sir.
in the
Yes, sir.
chat.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
Got it? Oh. Asif, let me know your email if possible.
It's AASIFKHAN.
One second. I guess I have it. Oh, 79@gmail.com. This one?
Yes, that's the one.
Right. Got it. Okay. Okay, guys. I'll share the files shortly. And please follow the
Sure.
procedure. You'll be getting the recording as well from the institute. Absolutely. Files. I'll share the files shortly. Okay. Bye-bye. Nothing further for our class today, guys. In tomorrow's class, we're going to go with the Linux commands. So we have the Kali system ready. So once we have that, we're going to we're going to try to understand what the commands are for this operating system and what is the main difference, or what are the differences between a Linux and a Windows operating system. How are the architectures different? Okay. And what are the commands as well difference in Windows and Linux? We'll talk about that in the next session. Yeah. Bye-bye. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time.
Sure.
Bye, guys.